guys, so today we're talking about the binomial theorem, and to do that we have to know Pascal's triangle. So Pascal's triangle is really just a pattern. So I've gone ahead and gone from row 1 down to row 10, but I just wanted to kind of explain to you how I made this. So the edges are all ones, okay? That is always the case. So like if you notice there's one more number on each line. So what you do is once you get to these ones right here, you add them up. 1 plus 1 is 2. So that if I wanted to know how did I get this 35? Well, 15 plus 20 was 35. So really, as long as you know that the ones go on the outside, and then the next number is just the 2 above it added together, like 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. You could make this from scratch every time. So again, this is called Pascal's triangle, and it's going to be really helpful for us to solve the binomial theorem. Okay, so for our example, what we're doing is it's called expand the binomial. So what we look at first is this number, and this number tells us which row to go on. And you look at the second number, and it's supposed to match. So this is a 10, we're looking at this row right here. And so what you do is you start with that number, and you write down all the numbers. And I might have to leave some space, so I might have to take 2 rows. So 1, and then space 10, 45, 120, 210. Again, I'm gonna go to the next row just to leave room. 252, 210, 120, 45, 10, and I'll go back down again one more time, 1. So then this is a plus sign, so we need to add a plus between all those. So plus 10, plus 45, plus 120, plus 210, plus 252, plus 210, plus 120, plus 45, plus 10, plus 1. And then you take this term and you start at the left and you start with 10 and you go down each time. So x to the 10th, x to the 9th, x to the 8th, x to the 7th, x to the 6th, x to the 5th, x to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x to the 1st, you could put the 1 there, and then x to the 0. And then you do the second term, which is y, and you go backwards to start at the end. Y to the 10th, y to the 9th, y to the 8th, y to the 7th, y to the 6th, y to the 5th, y to the 4th, y to the 3rd, y to the 2nd, y to the 1st, and then y to the 0. And then what's going to happen is you should notice that all of these add up to 10. So 10, 9 plus 1 is 10, 8 plus 2 is 10, 7 plus 3, 6 plus 4. So all of these exponents should add up to a total of 10. And that's how you expand it. So this would be your full answer right here. And again, not all of them are going to be this long, and I probably left a little bit more space than I needed to between them, but I didn't want to run out of room. And sorry, that cut off a little bit, so the part you couldn't see was that x, y to the 9th right there. Okay, so on this next one, the difference is you'll see there's a coefficient. So I want to show you what do you do if there's a number there. You start with the same process, it's just we're going to actually have an answer and then have to simplify it to a second answer. So again, I look to the exponent first. It's a 5. So I look up here, I find the 5. So my numbers are 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, 1. 1, 5, 10, 10, 5, and that's going to cut off for y'all, so I'm going to move down here 1. This is a plus, so they're all plus signs. And then we do the same idea, so but this time 3x is going. So I'm going to use a parentheses, 3x to the 5th, 3x to the 4th, 3x to the 3rd, 3x to the 2nd, just 1 3x, and then 0. Then do the 2y. So 2y to the 5th, 2y to the 4th, 2y to the 3rd, 2y to the 2nd, 2y, just one of them, and then none of them. So now we need to simplify. So we're really just going to do some multiplying. So 1 times 3x to the 5th. Well, 3 to the 5th, and we can use our calculator here. 3 to the 5th is 243. So 1 times 243 is 243 x to the 5th plus 3 to the 4th, 81, times 5 times 2, which is 810. So 810 x to the 4th y plus 3 to the 3rd, 2 to the 2nd. Okay, so that's 27 times 10 times 4, which is 1080. And then that's x to the 3rd, y to the 2nd. And we have 3 squared, 2 to the 3rd. So we're doing 9 times 8 times that 10. We get 720. It's x to the 2nd, y to the 3rd, plus 2 to the 4th, oops, which is 16, times 3 times 5. So 5 times 3 times 16 is 240. So 240 x, y to the 4th. And then our last one was 2 to the 5th, which is 32, times 1 is just 32. I'm trying to make this fit so we can see it. Plus 32 y to the 5th. And this would be your final answer. So if you have a coefficient, that's how you handle it. You just write them in parentheses, and you're gonna have to take your time and use that calculator, or I mean, you can do it in your head if you'd like, but you have to actually expand it. So that one really is more expanding even than this one because you have to do more math with it, but that's the idea. Okay, one thing that neither of these showed was what do you do if there's a minus sign? Okay, I was just telling you to put the pluses. You can keep putting those pluses. That's never gonna hurt anything. If, however, that this is a minus sign, you wanna just attach it to this term. So that negative, we make this negative 2y, so anytime I would have used it, I would put negative in the parentheses. And the main thing you need to remember there is a negative number raised to an even power goes positive, and a negative number raised to an odd power goes negative. So really what you should see is you should see positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, like that. It's gonna just switch back and forth. So with a plus, they're just all positives. With a minus sign, if we had one, it would just be positive, negative, positive, negative. It alternates each time because of how it expands. Okay, so the last type of example we're going to do is determine a single term. So our job on this one is to find the 6th term of c plus d to the 10th. And there's a couple ways you can do this. Some of you will choose to just find that 6th term. Others of you will write it out and choose the 6th term. So what I want to show you is, because this is so easy to write, you could just write it at any time. But say you already wrote it one time, just flip it over. So I have 1, 10, 45, 120. Let me write that down. 1, 10, 45, 120. I think it was 210, 252, and then it goes back down. 210, 120, 45, 10, and 1. I think that's kind of how it was spaced out before. So you can write them down, just copy it again. You don't have to redo Pascal's triangle every time. You can, but like with something as high as 10, I probably wouldn't. So again, you're just gonna write them out. So we have C going from 10 down to 1, C10, C9, oops, I wrote a D, C8, C7, C6, C5, C4, C3, C2, C1, and C0. I didn't write those plus signs, but I'll add that in a minute. D10, so D10, go backwards. D9, D8, D7, D6, D5, D4, D3, D2, just 1, and then nothing. And add those pluses because all of these were plus signs. I didn't have a sign change. And actually, none of these really have to be expanded anymore because that will be the whole thing. So I just wrote the whole thing like we did in the last one, okay? Or you could do this. If it's the 6th term, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is the one I need, okay? How you could just get that answer, because our answer is 252, c to the 5th, d to 5th, and that would be your final answer. The first way is what I just showed you. Write the whole thing out. Another way. If I'm looking at Pascal's triangle, if I'm on the 10th row, because that's what it said, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it will be 252. And then C10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. C5, and then how would it get to 10? D5. So I just did that a lot faster just by looking at the triangle. So let me just show you one more using this triangle. Let's say that we wanted to find the fourth term. Maybe I can write it right here so I can hurt my notes because I can white it out. The fourth term of x plus y to the 7th. Okay, so it's a 7. So I'd go to row 7, fourth term, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know it's going to be 35. And then I have x. Okay, so x 7, 6, 5, 4. And then if that's x to the 4th, this would be y to the 3rd. So if I wanted the fourth term, that's how I would get that. So again, fourth term of the 7th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, got the 35, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. And you could do that even if it was expanding. So you can choose if you'd rather write the whole thing out or if you'd like to find it like that. But that is expanding the binomial as well as determining a single term.